Hey, welcome, Plum Creek, to the after sermon, where we sit down with the communicator from this week's message and we talk about, some things that maybe got left on the table that didn't quite make it into the message. So I'm so glad that you're here. And this week, Pastor Doug preached. We launched a brand new series called Encounter. And here's what I want to ask you. I don't want to ask you about the actual sermon yet. I want to ask you, why did you pick this encounter? Why was this important to you?
That's such a great question. Actually, I knew that I wanted to talk about this story like a month and a half ago. And so...
And for reference, this is the encounter of
Luke chapter 7, and Jesus is walking into a city, and there's a funeral procession walking out. And I've just always been moved by this story. It captures my heart to understand that Jesus has true ability to see past crowds and see individuals. And in this story, that's really what it was about. It's a widow who's grieving the recent loss of her son, heading out of the city to bury her child. And Jesus is with another crowd heading into the city. They're heading out, and he sees and has compassion on that lady. It's amazing.
What struck you about it? What was it? What was it in this season that? Because this is launching a series.
Yeah, I think we feel unseen a lot, and that's hard for us to think that there may be some that are walking through really hard things that feel they're missed.
I think there's a lot of people feeling that these days.
Yeah.
When you think about that, outside the message, why does this encounter give you a little bit of hope?
Yeah. Well, I think first of all, it gives me hope because we get to see, kind of said it today, like a little glimpse behind the curtain of the heart of our Heavenly Father. And so we know that he sees us, but what we have been so talking about and trying to orient our ministry around and trying to help Plum Creekers experience and live at a different level is that we would do life like Jesus did. And so, there's so many things that he did that are so important, but I think this is really like pretty high on the list, right? To be noticing the people around us like we would want to be noticed and care like we would hope someone would care for us someday. And if we all lived this way, it'd be a whole different planet that we live on, where we would just care for others at such a deep level that they would experience the love of God through us. And I think that's really kind of the core of it all, is that when we talk about this reorientation of our life around the Jesus way, that we see these examples and then it becomes a compelling way for us to live.
Do you think, for real, do you think most people feel or walk through life feeling unnoticed?
I mean, I'm sure some always feel that way. I think all of us have at least felt that way on several occasions.
It feels like, I think about one of the things that I was reading about, just isolation culture, how this generation feels, not generation, let's just say people, the 7 billion people, 8 billion. We are the most connected ever in the history of the world, right? Like, you can get a Starlink and pretty much go anywhere on the planet and I could call you.
Yeah.
Most isolated. Most isolated. What is behind all this? What do you see?
Well, I think,
like, as a pastor,
human interaction is so vital, and we have digitized human interaction, and that will never fully suffice for the way that God hardwired us. Like, we're made to feel the hug. We're made to see someone eyeball to eyeball and to feel compassion and heart from those that we are walking. It's like you said, it's a very interesting world we live in where we're so connected, and yet even in a crowd like coming to church, you can feel as lonely as you could imagine around a whole bunch of people, and it shouldn't be that way.
I think you can feel more lonely, right? I was working on a project that we're doing in the fall, and I decided to be by myself. I'm not a by myself kind of
me
guy.
either.
I'm not. I don't want to be by myself.
You texted me a lot, by the way.
I did text you a lot because, like, there was one a day where the sun had come out in this very rainy city I was writing in, and the whole world seemed to like come out. And here I am there's thousands of people in the middle of the day. And I'm sitting there with my book by myself, and I don't think I've ever felt so lonely.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes coming into our church, coming into spaces where there's large crowds, there's almost an instinct to be like, oh, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Right? What when you think about it from a Christ follower's perspective, because there's two parts to this. There's the encounter, and we know we have some lonely people in our spaces, but there is a message to us who are followers of Jesus. What is that?
Well, see, I think there's two sides to the coin.
Okay.
The first side of the coin is we are called to orient our life around the way Jesus did things and do that ourselves. So that means we have to not, which is a battle in our culture, we have to not make life about us. And so we live in a culture that tells us all the time, you go get yours, you do what you want to do, and you circle your life up around you. And that's not the Jesus way at all. That is so not the Jesus way. And so the first thing is for us to fight against the cultural current that says, you do your thing, you get yours, you make life about you, you climb to the top however you can, get what you want, desire, and dream to have, and like whoever you got to climb over to get there, just make that happen. And well, I guarantee you that grieves the heart of our Heavenly Father, because that's not how He calls us to live.
Yep.
And so I think that's the first side of the coin. The other side of the coin is that we have to be very careful when we're walking through tough seasons of life to not isolate. And isolation is not good. That's not the way God calls us to live. That's why we talk about the importance of being in homes and, in our groups, and making sure we're connecting with people. And whether that's, coming to the ladies groups, the men's groups, the couples group, whatever, like student ministry, our kids, all that. We want to, community should just almost be normative, not almost, it should be normative in our lives. And so when we pull back for all kinds of reasons we do, it's meant to be, hurting is vulnerable. But when we work hard to establish those kinds of relationships, even before those things happen, then we have community around us to help us kind of not feel isolated in the middle of it. And then we have opportunity to be the hands and feet of Christ for each other.
What would you say? Because there may be someone who's like listening in, who is going through one of those seasons, one of the seasons where, man, their heart is broken, dreams get shattered, feel like a death, maybe figuratively, maybe for real.
Yeah.
What do you say to them in this season?
Well, please go back and listen to the sermon for today, because God sees you. And I would tell you, go to Him, talk to Him, be real with Him, even to the very depths of the emotion that you're feeling and experiencing. Don't try and walk through this without Him, first of all. And then secondarily, I know it's going to take courage, and I know it'll be very hard, but there are places and spaces. Plum Creek does provide some of that.
Yeah.
There are others too. It's not just us, but do what you can to get around some other people, in particular people that love the Lord, and that will be an expression of Jesus to you as you walk through tough times. And, I think we have a class here at church called Grief Share, and I think about how the stories that have come out of this, of just walking through that kind of stuff together. It's you're not meant to do this alone, and my heart hurts if you feel like you are. I don't want you to feel like there aren't people that care. And so the two sides of the coin, go to Jesus, and don't try and do this alone. And also try and be courageous and vulnerable in that spot where you're feeling missed or alone, and make sure that you surround yourself with some people that can help you.
I love that you framed it. It's two sides of a coin, because the message is really, there are broken people in our world all around us. Like every time we're walking down the street, sitting next to somebody, you've literally had no idea what they might have just experienced that day, a week. And so there is a piece of like, hey, if you're walking through that, lean into relationships. It's sort of like Sometimes I think when we walk through hard things, there is something that says, I don't want to get up off the couch. I don't want to go do those things.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, I mean, it's a bad analogy, but it is a little bit like working out, right? Where it's like, well, I never feel bad once I step into that.
Yeah.
I just never want to do it when I think about it. And I think there is this piece of like relational courage, knowing that there are communities like this one who will embrace you, but that's the other side of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
People have to be there to embrace you,
Right.
right? We are the hands and feet of Jesus. No doubt that Jesus will meet you, but he uses me and you to like welcome home the people who are broken.
What if every single one of us woke up tomorrow and said, give me your eyes, Jesus.
Gosh.
Help me to see what you see. Help me to care like you care. And then head into your day with that mission. It would change the world.
Bro, and you know what's so beautiful about that? It's a virtuous cycle, because when you get your eyes off of you,
That's what we need to do.
right? Like it's almost like as I recognize the pain around me and I pour myself into these people that are hurting, then by moving my eyes off of me, it's as if God sort of starts to do something inside of me. Like it is a virtuous circle. It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Well, listen, if you haven't listened to this message, you need to go listen to it. So all you have to do is go to your favorite podcasting platform, go to our YouTube page, watch the message, or maybe this is one of those that you share with someone in your world who's really struggling. And maybe it's the first step in connecting and being the hands and feet of Jesus, creating an encounter. So thanks for listening, and thanks, Dub. Love you, man.
Love you guys.